Hi, Kings fans. In this week's video, we're going to take a look at Week 7, where the Kings went 1-1-1 and really struggled to find their game again. I think we're looking at a downward trend as Kings have lost 3 of their last 4, I believe, and struggling to find that consistency on both sides of the ice. So we'll take a look at the 3 games this week and then preview the 3 games coming up next week. To start off, we're going to take a look at how things went in New York. Well, in LA against New York. I do think we had our strongest first period of the season. I think we had a great start, really scored very early, and the first line did a good job getting us off to a good start. But we have a hard time handing off one period to the next. I think that's a bit of a theme this season for the Kings. And we probably had our best first period of the season and our worst second period of the season. The Kings got 3 goals scored against them. Those were the only goals scored that period. Were all 3 against the Kings, and really the only thing that was keeping it close this game was Kevin Fiala. So I think he had a strong game in individual performances. We will see strong individual performances throughout this week, but Fiala did go up to the first line, bringing Vilardi down to the third. And man, this whole bottom 6 looks horrible right now. I think Jaret Anderson-Dolan was really the lone bright spot here. He had a good week, but Vilardi couldn't get anything going to the third line. I think he was with Lizotte and Grundstrom this game, and then other guys like Kupari and certainly like Lias Anderson. Man, they just weren't they weren't getting it done. So the third line did not succeed with Vilardi on it. Not sure why they really shook it up here. I don't think that the first line really worked the first time they tried it with Fiala, but Vilardi and that whole bottom 6 just looked really bad this game. Although Peterson did let in 4 goals here, I actually thought that he looked like a starter this game, and he looked confident. And I think that a lot of the goals that he got scored against him were forgivable goals. Certainly the one against Chris Kreider was kind of a nice pass by like a bank pass off the backboard by Zibanejad. I think he'd like to have back, but that's just something where you kind of got to hope that it hits you. I don't think that he can really do too much about that. The Trocheck goal was unfortunate where it kind of chipped up and over everybody's head, but really he made some really great saves. A very key save. Certainly when he dove across and made the save, leading to then Walker to come and score the goal. It was a big momentum shift for the Kings. So I think he actually was a better goalie this week. I would have liked to see him get the start against Ottawa, but I think that we're seeing a promising emergence of Peterson in net right now for the Kings. Now we'll take a look at the San Jose game, and this game was a career game for Jaret Anderson-Dolan. He looks very confident, and he really is making good north-south plays and giving a lot of effort. He gave a lot of effort in every game this week, but I guess against San Jose, he was all over the score sheet, and goal and assist, a lot of shots, a lot of hits, and was really just doing a great job playing his role as a fourth-line player. I do think the Kings, they scored 5 here. I think that they ran into a bad goaltender in Reimer. The game would have been closer had Reimer had a little bit better of a game. I think there were at least 2 goals here you could say that he probably should have had back. But, really the Kings beat the team that they should have here against San Jose, who's struggling and maybe in a bit of a rebuild. But I do think that for the second game in a row, the Kings lost steam come the second period. They dominated both the first and the third, and then second period just seems to be their kryptonite this year. They really struggle handing off one period to the next and really keeping a solid 60-minute game in. Not a good 20 minutes here, a good 20 minutes there, but a whole full 60 is our weakness right now. But against a team like San Jose, I would like to see the first line getting a little more on the score sheet and getting things involved here. Certainly the power play did not look good for the first line here. They had 1 goal, I think, from Vilardi. No, that was against the Rangers. So yeah, the power play and the just the overall first line scoring chances they're generating here, it's not enough, especially for guys like Kempe and Kopitar, who have really struggled to find the score sheet as often as they should, being first line players this year. Lastly, we had a bit of a heartbreaker here against Ottawa, lost in overtime 3-2. Really, the only thing that kept it close this game were Arthur Kaliev and Sean Dursey. I think they really controlled things on the power play. And this was officially the takeover for the second line power play to take over to be the first line power play, if you ask me. Really, Dursey is the power play quarterback who really makes it all happen. And the overall effort that the power play number 2 gives as far as retrieving loose pucks is a big reason why they have success. And then Kaliev just being your finisher. He's such a great sniper. He's got such a great shot. It's really the only dimension he has to his game. But having Kaliev out there on that second power play is a huge piece to their success. Again, I thought the first line was invisible. They're trying things here and there, and they just don't seem to be working. They have some chemistry issues, which I've pointed out in previous weekly video reviews, but I think that overall the effort is an issue, and just kind of they seem out of sync. So effort is an issue not only for the first line, though it's a little more magnified through them, but effort definitely for the bottom 6, the guys that don't have as much talent, who need to really just bring contributions through hard forecheck, hard back check, throwing body checks around. Those effort guys like your Grundstroms and your Lazats, it's just not there for them right now. And I'm certainly most disappointed, I guess, in Lazat, as I think that is really what he hangs his hat on as like the main thing that he provides to the team. So I'm not sure if he's injured or maybe kind of has a nagging injury or something, but we need to see more out of those bottom 6 guys because that's half of our forward lineup. Now, in overtime, I thought our top guys lost it for us. Mainly Drew Doughty here, but Kempe as well. As the guy that Kempe was on for a moment there was Giroux, and then Kempe and Doughty both kind of sucked in trying to score this goal and kind of force an opportunity that wasn't there yet. It led to the cleanest breakaway Giroux could have asked for, coming down in on quick. And you give a guy that much time, he's probably going to score. So really just I guess just getting too impatient for the Kings here. And certainly Doughty had a bad week last week. This kind of capped off another bad week for Doughty this week. And, we just need our top guys to be better than this. Kempe and Kopitar usually have success in overtime. They have not this year. Doughty had trouble, defensively and offensively throughout this week. So the top guys lose it for us in OT, and I hope this really can just be a motivating factor for us. We still got a point out of it, but I just want us to kind of get motivated by something, and hopefully this can do it. And especially the top guys need to get motivated by something, and hopefully this can be a turning point for us, as we've had now. I think really we can say that for the first time this season, 2 back-to-back weeks where we did poor. So in summary, I think a big reason that we're struggling right now is actually because we are missing our depth forwards. If you think of it now, we have no Velarde, obviously leading goal scorer, that hurts. We have no Lemieux. We have no Lemieux, and we have no Iafallo, who we've had for a long time on injured reserve. So all 3 of those guys give a lot of effort. I think that Iafallo and Velarde are a perfect mix of effort and skill. And then Lemieux certainly gives a lot of effort, and I love to see him game in and game out, forechecking and bringing that sandpaper and that snarl that our team needs. So number one thing is we are missing our depth forwards. Guys like Elias Anderson certainly are not going to be doing it for us this year. The power play did have a great week. Again, this is mostly thanks to the second line power play. I believe the only power play goal that the first line power play had was against the Rangers with a backdoor play when Fiala hit Velarde down low. That was a nice goal, but certainly the second line power play is generating way more opportunities and doing much better right now. Again, I touched on this before, but we're very inconsistent from one period to the next. Another thing that continues to plague us this year. But we did see strong single game performances for a couple of our players. So Kaliev had a 2-goal game against Ottawa, really the only reason we stayed in that game. Then Jaret Anderson-Dolan had a great game against San Jose. Again, he was all over the score sheet. And then Fiala had, I think, a 3-point night against New York, and it was a big reason why we stayed in that game. So from one game to the next, I don't think these guys all had really great follow-up games necessarily, but it's nice to see a single strong game performance out of these guys. Certainly bottom 6 guys like Kaliev and Anderson-Dolan, it's nice to see that. Fiala, we come to expect some good games like that, and that's what we're paying him so much money for. But certainly it's good to see guys like Kaliev and Anderson-Dolan hitting their stride. I do think we are trending in the wrong direction, though. as this is our second straight week with a losing record here. And the biggest thing, in my opinion, that's leading to this, obviously we're missing our depth forwards, and those depth forwards do provide a little more hustle and grit, certainly like a guy like Lemieux does. But we just don't really have the snarl or the mean attitude when it comes to like board battles, and it comes to hustling back and wanting to having a little pride about winning that puck battle. We're missing that right now, and I think that maybe just a few leadership players in the locker room stepping up and making those plays, like leading by example. Maybe Kopitar comes in hard on the forecheck, or Doughty skates hard back on a back check to break up a play. Can really start to kind of set the tone for the Kings as far as what kind of snarl and compete level we need to have, but I just don't think it's there right now. Now we're going to move on to our key performers. And with this week, I think we have to talk about Jaret Anderson-Dolan simply because of how all over the score sheet he was. So we expect to see him with a lot of hits, and I think we expect to see him more of a defensive game, but certainly getting that 1 goal, 1 assist. He was a +1, and he took 9 shots in 3 games. Considering how many minutes he plays, 9 shots is a pretty good rate. Then Durzi, he only played in 2 games this past week. He was out against New York Rangers, and when he came in for the 2 games, he had 3 assists in 2 games, and really was the power play quarterback. We're going to go over how Durzi and both Anderson-Dolan did in this week's video review, so be sure to tune into that. But Sean Durzi is a great power play quarterback because he makes other players take advantage of the space they have on the power play. So I just love to see him doing his thing offensively and not losing any, like Doughty sometimes will lose his defense by trying to step up and make too much happen. Durzi just lets the plays come to him, and he takes advantage of the opportunities when they come. So I think he really had a good game, setting other guys up for success. And then the last guy, I could put him, honestly, every week I could put Danault in as our key performer because he's such a good two-way player, but he really is leading his second line. He plays a good two-way game. If he's not on the score sheet on goals and assists, he's going to be on there for his face-off win percentage. He never had less than 50% this week. He's going to be on there for face-offs. He's going to be on there for shots and hits and blocks and everything. He's just a do-it-all kind of guy. So we're very lucky to have him as our second-line center. Most teams would be looking for a guy like that as a first-line center. We have him as our second line. So that's great to see. And, just again, where we saw last year, the first line was kind of slowing down and coasting and not doing the job. The second line is keeping us in games. So Danault's a big part of that. Now, you may ask yourself, why is Kevin Fiala not on the key performers section here? He led the team in points this week. Well, in my opinion, he cost the team the win against Ottawa. He took another dumb penalty. I don't know how many more McClellan's going to allow him to keep taking. Offensive zone, took a penalty, punched a guy in the face for no reason, right in front of the ref, and they ended up scoring on the ensuing power play. And I don't know if it's every bad penalty he's taken, but I know at least 2 out of the 3 just obvious punching a guy for no reason kind of penalties. I know the Vegas one they scored on ended up winning against LA there, and then this one here in Ottawa they scored on, ended up winning in a 1-goal game, just like the Vegas game was. So he's costing the team not just a goal, but wins. He's costing the team wins by these stupid penalties. So it's very immature of him, I would think, as he's 25, 26 now. He'd probably be trying to grow out of this. But it's just not Kings hockey. It's just embarrassing to see this happen. And there's no way I can put him on my key performers when he literally cost us 2 points this past game with Ottawa. So that's why he's left off. But he didn't make it to the doghouse because he did have a good week points wise. The 2 in our doghouse are Drew Doughty and Adrian Kempe. Those are the main ones I want to focus on. So again, Doughty was in the doghouse last week, and he finds his way there again. He had 2 secondary assists, a -1, and only 3 shots in 3 games. Now, 3 shots, given the amount of time on ice that Doughty gets, usually about 25 plus minutes a game, is not nearly enough shots opportunities generated. So 2 secondary assists, a -1, on a Kings team that has offensive firepower. He needs to be able to find his players, find his teammates, and make things happen for them. It's just not happening right now. And as I mentioned, I think he is the main reason why we lost in that overtime, as he got too aggressive and allowed that breakaway to get in behind him. So, second week in a row, he lands himself in the doghouse, and it's disappointing because I think last year he really had a good season. He talked in the offseason about how he wanted to do better, and he was motivated after sitting and watching the playoffs and things. But this team made it to the playoffs without Doughty, and everyone was kind of thinking, man, what if we had him? And so far, he's not doing a good job following up from a good season last season to this one. Another guy who's having a disappointing year so far is Adrian Kempe, and I thought this past week was really a good example of that. He had 2 assists. One assist was kind of a fluky assist on a Fiala goal. The other was an assist on a Kopitar empty net. So nothing really spectacular there. Only 5 shots for a guy who had 35 goals last season. To have 5 shots in 3 games is disappointing. I think that his other teammates, especially like Fiala, can find him and set him up, and he can kind of create some scoring chances through his shooting. But he seems hesitant to take shots. He doesn't want to play that aggressive shooting style, I think, that favors him. And as a result, he's just really struggling to find the score sheet. So another guy who gets a lot of minutes. He's 18 plus every night, 18 plus minutes. And he's not really a two-way guy, playing defense as much as Kopitar does. So, I have to put him in the doghouse. He's not producing. He's a first-line guy, and he's not producing first-line points at all. Then I do have to throw Grundstrom, Lizotte, and Kupari down in the doghouse, only if only for their effort. I don't expect these guys to be on the score sheet every night getting points, but I do expect them to give hard forechecks and give good effort, and I didn't see that this week. They maybe got on the score sheet here or there with a point or two, but really we need the consistent effort out of them more so than we need the points. It's about wearing the other team down and setting the tone for our team and our identity. And these guys, they really hold a lot of responsibility for the effort and kind of holding the whole team accountable for the energy. So I'm disappointed in that. I didn't put their stats up or anything, but I really just thought that they could have done a lot better as far as their lines bringing energy and creating more life for the Kings. Now we're going to take a look here, previewing week number 8. The game that I'm most excited to see is actually tomorrow against Seattle. Seattle's a team we're going to be battling for a playoff spot this year. I didn't think that was the case coming into this season. I knew they'd be a little bit better, but I did not think that they would be doing as well as they are. They have taken over second place in the Pacific. I think we're going to be duking it out with them for that second or third spot here in the Pacific. And, we need to be doing well against Pacific teams. We struggle against them last year. We struggle against them this year so far. And this is a team where we can look back at this game. If we end up missing the playoffs, we can end up looking back at games like this against teams that we're fighting against as to why we didn't make it. So this Seattle game is definitely the big one that highlights this week. Then we got a game against Arizona, which we should win. And we have a game against Carolina, who's a team with a very similar record to ours, surprisingly so. I think they're kind of underperforming by their standards as well. And both teams kind of trying to look to get on track here. So I think that will be a pretty good game. The Arizona game, I'd like to beat them pretty handily. I'd like to see the lines, maybe the minutes divvied up evenly by McClellan here to get other guys in. And I'm thinking if there ever was a game where Brant Clark would come back, that would be that game against Arizona. So he did get recalled back to LA. I think there was a bit of a loophole where Rob Blake was able to send him down to the minors for a few games. He played a few games, and then he's come back up to LA. I think they're very hesitant to send him down to the Barrie Colts in the junior leagues, but at this point, I don't really see a fit for him. I don't know that anyone has played their way off of this roster. I think Walker has played better. Anderson's played better. Durzee's certainly playing very well right now. So I don't know that he's really got a spot on this roster. And what do we want him in his 12 minutes for anyways? He's not on the power play, which I think is where he's best suited. McClellan throws him on the penalty kill for some reason. But what does he bring that we need? I don't see anything that he brings that we need right now. So I'd be interested to see if they end up putting him back in. If he plays one more game, he will officially enter his first year of his contract. So if it were me, I know there might be some concern about injuries and having depth on defense, but I think Jacob Moverare and certainly, back in the AHL with Jordan Spence, we've got enough depth. We don't need Brant Clark in our lineup right now. He hasn't really shown that he's a game breaker or anything. We can send him back to Barrie. I know it's not ideal because he's too good to be in juniors, but he's just kind of in this no man's land right now. He's back to LA. I'd be disappointed to see him jump into a game here because I think it would waste his first year of his contract. But we'll see what happens. That's one notable thing is that we might see him come back in and officially stay up with LA all year if he makes one more game. So a big week coming up. Obviously, kind of spearheaded by that game against Seattle. Started off there. We need to get that win. We need to get back on track, especially against a Pacific team. But just a good week to bounce back with. There's an Arizona team that we should be able to beat, and two teams that are probably going to be playoff teams that we need to make good performances against. So I'm looking forward to see this week and looking forward to a strong bounce back week. I'd like to see 2 out of 3 wins here in this week and see us get back to the winning column. So thanks for tuning into this week's weekly review, and I look forward to following week by week all season long with you guys. So don't forget to like and comment and subscribe, and I will be happy to take you along with us as we go through this Kings season. Thank you.